Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Lego Lord of the Rings. So last time we finished off collecting the red bricks, and now you may be wondering what is next on what we have to do next. Well, we have a bunch of mithril bricks that we have to collect here in the hub area. So we will be doing that. I'm just getting my extras activated. So yeah, we're gonna start here, of course, in the Shire, with our mithril brick collection here. So basically, what you want to do is you want to just pick a mithril brick and set it as your destination on the map, and then you'll get the guides to guide you to it. Now, some of these mithril bricks are gonna be harder to get than others, and they're gonna require a bit more work. But just start here in the Shire and kind of work my way somewhat systematically. It's how I usually do free roam anyway, so we are going to be going after a bunch of mithril bricks here. And when I first started free roam here, I was trying to use a timer on my phone to try to time these episodes somewhat, but that wasn't working. So these first couple episodes, there's gonna be some pauses and stuff because I was trying to figure out the timer on my phone and stuff. But anyway, most of these mithril bricks are gonna be fairly self-explanatory here. Just follow along with what I'm doing, and you should be able to get them without too much trouble. Few things to note here is that you know, obviously there's some mithril bricks that are only available at nighttime, so just fast travel to the statue, or the map stone, and you will and change it to night, and then go after the mithril brick. There's actually a share of the mithril bricks that are only available at night. I don't know which mithril bricks are available during the day, because I usually spawn each area in during the day and then just come back and get the ones available at night. But most of the mithril bricks are available at any time. So there's that. But anyway, I just finished recording up to the end of the Let's Play as far as gameplay is concerned. So now I'm just gonna catch up on. Now I'm just catching up here on commentary and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited because now the end is kind of in sight here. So I messed up there on the fishing with Mary. And fishing with Mary, I found on free roam as we continue on is actually not as good. It worked there, but there are some areas where it's not as good. But yeah, one of the things we're also going to want to do is go after the rest of the blacksmith designs, because I don't know if I mentioned it before, but as part of getting 100% in this game, you do have to craft all the blacksmith items, and so we will be doing that later. I actually end up doing it a little bit later on here in free roam. So anyway, let's talk to this guy.
I was keeping an eye on Gandalf's stop wand, but I turned my back for 1 second and some goat made off with him. I gave chase, but I lost him halfway up Amon Hen.
So yeah, so if you haven't completed free play at this point, I highly suggest doing that, because
Bless me, thank you.
Because all of the remaining quests that we have require a treasure item in a specific level. The character will tell you what, it will give you a clue as to what level the treasure item is in. Here's another quest right here.
That husband of mine has lost our house key again. I swear this happens every time he goes gallivanting off with that friend of his near the mines of Moria.
So yeah, so the yellow text is the clue as to what level the item is in. And so that's...
Oh, thank you
so
so
yeah,
much.
so basically you're just gonna need to collect all of the treasure items in the levels to complete these. You don't actually need all of them, but you need at least one particular treasure item from each level. There's a quest that takes a treasure item from every level in the game. So just a little heads up there that you are going to need at least one of the 3 treasure items, but you need to get all 3 anyway in order to get the mithril bricks. So, which of course, if you've been following along, you should have all the treasure items from the levels by now. Obviously, we don't have all of the treasure items because there's some of the mithril items that we're still missing, because those are the ones we have to craft yet from the blacksmith. So, and I'll show that off later too. But in order to craft the remaining mithril items, we will need to get the remaining mithril bricks, obviously. So, as far as studs go, at this point, I have purchased everything in the game. I purchased all of the purchasable characters and all of the red bricks. So we do not have a need for studs anymore. So having the multipliers on really doesn't do you any good. I don't know if there's a way to max out the studs in this, or if the studs max out in this game. I haven't tried. Most of the newer LEGO video games, the studs don't max out, or at least if they do max out, they max out at a very high value, which would take like forever to obtain. And there's no, I don't know if there's any achievements in this game for collecting studs. I know there are for some of the other LEGO video games, but this one I don't think there is an achievement for collecting a certain amount of LEGO studs. But yeah, some of these mithril bricks are a little bit trickier, and I will obviously commentate about how to get some of these mithril bricks, because there are some of these mithril bricks that are going to be very tricky for us to get. So right here we need to cross the Buckleberry Ferry. So I decide to follow the guide sets, and it takes you around the long way. But yeah, if the ferry's not on the side, you just ring the bell there, and then you just turn the crank on the ferry to cross the little stream here. That's the only way to get across here. So it's a little annoying. We actually will end up having to do this again later. So. Just a little side note there, but anyway. So yeah, and really, I think that the free roam actually turned out pretty good. Obviously, you know, there's a few times where I messed up, but I'll of course point those out when we get there. Most of these mithril bricks, though, in the Shire are pretty straightforward and don't really require too much work. There's a mithril brick right here that we're going to quick get since we're over here. Oh no, there isn't. I lied. Sorry. There's just studs there actually, and since I have attract studs turned on, I didn't need to burn this down. I thought there was a mithril brick behind here, like in a dark cave. You're gonna find that there's a lot of mithril bricks in like dark areas in the hub area, so just switch to Frodo to light him up, or if you have another character that has a light on them. I just find to switch to Frodo because some of the areas are kind of small too, so like a taller figure may not fit in some of them as well. This is a recurring mini game that you will see throughout Middle Earth. This is kind of a whack-a-mole game, and you actually can't hit them with a ranged weapon like arrows. You actually have to come up and attack them with your daggers with Legolas here. So one thing I actually learned fairly quickly is that you actually have to physically attack these guys. And there's several of this mini game throughout Middle Earth, and they're of varying difficulty. This is one of the easier ones. But generally speaking, most of the time trials in this game usually get enough time to get the stuff. And that mithril brick is going to take us around the long way. For some of this stuff, I just usually travel to the map stone. And since there was a mithril brick that was only available at nighttime, I decided to spawn in here at nighttime since I had to travel back to the statue anyway. So now we can go around and get this mithril item here. But anyway, so yeah, so So yeah, I'm gonna do my best to commentate these episodes, and if it ever gets to a point and where I don't need to talk about what's going on, I can talk about some other stuff too. But yeah, I'm just excited that we're getting very close to the end of this game. Obviously, there's still a good share of free roam here to get through, but free roam actually did go by pretty fast, to be honest. This first episode, I just mainly got the Shire done and just a little bit of the Village of Bree, but there's actually a lot here in the Shire, so we'll worry about more later on. But anyway, that's that. So I'll be excited to get through these free roam episodes and then get this game finished up. So yeah, so I'll try to get these episodes cranked out as quickly as I can as far as uploading them and stuff too. So yeah. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the Let's Play so far. I know it was a bit of a it's been quite the undertaking, to be sure, like I've said already. But I think it's been good, and yeah, maybe the commentary has been fairly lackluster, but I feel like that now, especially since all of the gameplay is recorded now, I feel a lot better now, just knowing that the end is in sight and that everything is gonna that now it's just gonna be finishing up the post commentary and stuff, and really the post commentary has worked out really well. I was a little concerned about it, but I think that the post commentary was the way to go for this game, to be honest, because then I could focus more on the game, and not have to worry about coming up with commentary in the moment. It does help, definitely. I think it'll be even better if I decide to do Lego Harry Potter Years 5 through 7 at some point, which I definitely am considering doing at some point, because I know that game much better than this game. As you saw earlier, I had to look up some stuff in the guide for this game, whereas I won't in 5 through 7. This is another recurring thing, animal races. This one is not too particularly hard, but there are some more challenging animal races. This is the first animal races, but yeah, basically you just have to get through the checkpoints. And the time limit is how much time you have to get to the next checkpoint. When you get to the end of the race, you get a missile break. So that's another reoccurring thing that's going to be happening here in the hub area. Is the racing, the time trial races, I guess, whatever you want to call them. They're sometimes called time trial challenges. They're sometimes called races. I don't know. It is whatever it is. You're racing against the clock. But anyway. So yeah. So obviously, I've finished off the gameplay recording, but if there's anything that you want to see in this game that I don't end up showing off, just send me an email and just let me know if there's anything else they want to see. I do an episode where I show a few extra things off at the end, so, but otherwise, most of the, there's actually not a whole lot really to show off in this game. Once you get 100%, I do show off the main stuff once you get 100%, so don't worry about that. Obviously not going to spoil it if you haven't seen it, so, but yeah, we'll be getting there though a little bit later. So yeah, so. But yeah. There will be some more challenging mithril bricks later in free roam. Trust me, they're not. Now the mithril bricks are this easy. There's gonna be a lot more challenging ones coming up here. But you know, if you do get stuck, you can look stuff up in a guide. I did end up looking stuff up in the guide for some of this stuff, but I usually did it like between episodes, so I didn't have to have the guide pulled up while I was recording. So I just would get all the stuff I could in an episode, and then between episodes I would quick look something up in the guide, and then I'd be able to figure out what to do from there. This one here this mithril brick here in particular is a little trickier to get because you have to jump across. But before we actually do that, there is something that we need to do first. We have to come over here, and we have to smash this with Gimli. And then there's a fishing spot right here. This is another recurring thing that you're gonna have to do. Is you're gonna have to either fish out a crank or a key to unlock doors. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention, so I failed the fishing game there. But I should get this time. But yeah, this is another recurring thing. So if you're ever looking for a crank or a key, chances are there's a fishing spot somewhere nearby that you can use to find what you're looking for. So there I got the key. So once you get hold of the key, you can change characters. This is another thing I wasn't sure about when I was doing this one, but I did figure it out later that yeah, you can actually change characters. It stays in the character's inventory. So these jumps are not easy to make though. We'll use the key on the lock, and the doors are going to open, and then we're going to change characters again. This is another thing you're going to have to use to, is you're going to have to use to changing characters multiple times because, just because that. So I believe that's all the mithril bricks I end up getting here, but there is one more thing I want to get before this episode ends, and that is one of the only useless mithril items left in the game at the blacksmith shop here, and that is the mithril bottomless bucket. It's going to be very useful here in the hub area. Costs 16 whopping mithril bricks to collect. All these last mithril items are going to cost 16 mithril bricks a piece to craft. All of the remaining ones that we haven't already crafted at this point. So they're very expensive and they're generally not worth it. So I'm not going to be getting any more of these until later because we're not going to need to use any of these. I will tell you that. We do not need any of the remaining ones. Even the mithril fireworks, which I mentioned earlier. You know, since we have the berserker and his bomb at this point, the mithril fireworks are useless. But the mithril bottomless bucket is good because you do not need to fill this ever. It will automatically be filled with water and you will never have to refill it. So it's a very nice item to have for free roam. And we'll be using it as Shire here in free roam too. So that is going to be the end of this episode. So the next time we'll be taking on the village of Bree. Until then, this is Joe Cool 10 signing out.
Huh?